The Satisfying Downfall of KSI by Internet Anarchist.
While KSI's online career has had its fair share of controversy, 2024 has become the year that he has completely ruined his reputation beyond repair. From being called out for involvement in crypto schemes.
Yesterday, he accidentally exposed the pump and dump crypto scams that he promoted.
To staging a complete meltdown after a horrible song release.
If the whole thing was different, it would be better, right? It's actually the most liked comment on the music video. It's got more likes than my actual music video.
Oh my god, it's bad. Like, the actual comment has more likes than the video. That is not hyperbolic. That is actual fact.
No wonder KSI's online presence has been on a steep downward trajectory. However, that's only the tip of the iceberg, as KSI's response to the situation has only added fuel to the fire and turned anyone that was left against him.
What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit the five? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be examining the crumbling reputation of YouTube's greatest trash talker, KSI. Throughout his 15 years on YouTube, KSI has dabbled in several different styles and strategies when it comes to content creation, from gameplay videos to comedy skits and even mainstream television. KSI's eccentric personality and willingness to expand his horizons has allowed him to build a platform that boasts over 24 million subscribers. While KSI's over-the-top online persona has brought him unparalleled success on the platform, it has also spawned considerable amounts of controversy, getting banned from Eurogamer, backlash for using gamer words in his videos, and
Wait, what was he banned for?
controversy, getting banned from Eurogamer.
Accused of essay after making a video in which made remarks to women in Eurogamer Expo, subsequently banned from all future Eurogamer events. Can we just not? So, like, I get if there are consenting adults, right, and you're wanting to get a little, you know, frisky, spicy, even touchy-feely, as long as everyone is a literal consenting adult, why should I care? However, the moment that nothing's consensual, right, that is a clear issue. That is an issue that needs to be addressed, whether that's banning from a venue, whether that's banning from events, whether that's accountability in regards to losing sponsorship opportunities. Like, I didn't even know about this until this video, which, if this is true, because this is an allegation, right? He was accused of this. It's an allegation. If this is true, I mean, this definitely paints him in a poor light. Even it paints him in a very poor light.
Gamer, backlash for using gamer words in his videos, and heated feuds with other creators and his brother Deji are just a few examples of KSI's ego landing him in hot water. Even though KSI was able to walk away from these incidents with no lasting consequences for his career or fan base, his unchecked ego would continue to get the better of him. A good example.
That's actually what I've noticed, actually. We were talking about, I guess Dark Viper AU is making his rounds again. I guess he was absolutely just molding and seething over the Willie Mac show video on him. And I mean, that's an example of you have a platform, you have everything you need to succeed, but you as a person are getting in your own way. And I think KSI, unfortunately, is another example of this, where his ego, his lack of understanding of the world and certain things. I'm a fighter, dude. We'll get to that later. That has to do with the whole Lunchley thing, the whole Dan TDM situation, which is going to be towards the end. But he's like, oh, I'm such a fighter, you know, if this happens, I'm just gonna fight it. And it's like there just doesn't seem to be that cognizance. But it also feels like there's other issues that are underlying, and I wonder if that's gonna get pointed out in this video.
All of this was KSI's response to the first loss in his boxing career at the hands of Tommy Fury.
KSI, your thoughts after that robbery? It's a robbery, bro. How many jabs did he land? How many jabs did you land? You didn't get hardly any shots off.
I just gotta say, so my model's kind of covering it. The Prime, little tacky to me, little on the nose, not cheeky necessarily as much as it feels tacky. But then again, that's not my thing, right? Like I would not be someone who is going to go out and buy a diamond Prime necklace, right, or something that looks like a diamond Prime necklace. That's just not my thing. As somebody who does SCA, right, I play. I'm Idaho, right? I play Barony of Arnhold for those SCA. Wink, wink, love you guys. I mean, I do sparring, right? I do sword combat and stuff, right? I even have a couple shorts up on here and up over on Tactic Hip, right? Am I the best? Absolutely not, dude. Like, I have maybe some raw semblance of talent, but I mean, I'm not, I don't know, I'm not that good, right? But and I can take losses, right? If I go 0-8, 0-10, did I have fun? Did I learn something new, right? Okay, and I get this is different. This is like professional tier, right? This is a professional match, and even then, you can actually get more metrics because metrics, engagements, they don't care if they're good, bad, negative, right? Positive, negative, neutral. They don't really care. So this could actually be seen as a net positive because, oh, well, more engagement. Oh, well, did you hear about what KSI said, how this match was rubbery, how many jabs did he land? Maybe calling his opponent's integrity into question, right? Like, there could be an amount of showmanship to that is how I would word that. So I don't really know enough offhand to really make a snap judgment.
Huh? And you got a point off as well.
I'll tell you one thing. He can land 2 right hands around, but I was pushing the pace, I was throwing the shots, and I was the one put with
You weren't landing. You weren't.
Unable to accept defeat, KSI would make a long-winded response to the match and try to use every method imaginable to downplay Tommy's victory.
So, one of the best skills in life, be able to lose gracefully. Even if you don't agree with it, be able just to walk away. To lose gracefully. You are so far ahead of the bell curve if you do that.
In terms of the Tommy Fury fight, yeah, I feel like I've come out better. Way better than he has. Like, I would much rather be in my position than his. I mean, it's nice to know that my fight with Tommy Fury will be the biggest fight he will ever have in his life. Even if he fights anyone else, no one is gonna care.
His laugh almost feels like it's a response to dealing with discomfort. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I have no way of ascertaining if that's true or not. Notice whenever he talks about something like that, it's almost like a stress relief response where he talks about something that clearly can get to him. And it almost feels like a way of diverting or deflecting any sort of negative emotion. So I wonder if that dives into other underlying issues that he may be experiencing. But that is far outside of my weight class to really think. That starts getting into actual psychology. And I don't have the credentials to really address that, like, or really even to look at that. And even then, I would argue, I think that it's rather inappropriate after a certain point to start delving. Because when you start looking at, well, I think this creator, insert random creator here, I think this random creator is, autistic. Someone on the spectrum, okay? I get it, right? Someone is OCD. Someone is sociopathic or psychopathic, right? Okay, but you're making an accusation based on what? You're making these allegations based on what schooling, what credentials, what evidence, what actual interaction do you have with this person, right? If you have none of these things going for you, why are you commenting on it, right? So I want to just clarify that making assumptions or kind of formulating a hypothesis is kind of one thing. And even then, a lot of those I keep to myself, right? There's creators that I think are absolutely neurodivergent. Do I say anything? No, because it's not necessarily appropriate. In this situation, the laughing is enough of a consistent factor that it makes me wonder. But to speculate further upon, I would argue, is definitely inappropriate.
Even going as far as taking jabs at Tommy's personal life.
And to be honest, Tommy Fury has been pretty embarrassing these past few weeks. From him being with Chris Brown, having zero rhythm, looking hella awkward, to him attempting to dance with Tion Wayne, to whatever this clip is, all while Molly May is looking after his kid at home.
Even though the results of the match...
So who cares, right? At the end of the day, who cares? You have, what, 20 million subscribers? Why should they care? Why? What net positive does this do? What net positive does this have on your viewers, on your fans? I'd argue very little, if any. Chris Brown? Wasn't he guilty of... Didn't he allegedly smack somebody? Didn't he allegedly hit somebody, a very popular artist? If that's the case, and he's the correct individual I'm thinking of, I already have a very low opinion of him, but that is based on this individual allegedly engaging in some sort of physical altercation, right? That being said, I I will definitely definitely take the L if I'm thinking of someone completely different.
Which were rather divisive, KSI's reaction only served to make him look like more of a loser, a fact his viewers quickly pointed out, with comments that read, "Always been a KSI fan, and wanted him to win. But after seeing the way he has reacted to losing, I'm happy he lost. Now I'm older, I understand what Deji was saying about KSI being egotistical. He's also a master manipulator to twist his fans' opinions. As well as, a wise man once said, being a sore loser is even worse than being a loser. Fortunately for him, it wouldn't be long before viewers forgot about KSI's arrogant rambling and moved on to other things.
Exactly. Internet outrage is 2 weeks. How many of you are still thinking about the Sniper Wolf Jax film doxing situation? How many of you are still thinking about the Mr. Beast hide and seek fiasco, right? How many of you are still thinking about Logan Paul cryptos? Well, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Logan Paul, right? I want to make sure I'm using the correct name that his lawyers did provide an email. The Logan Paul CryptoZoo situation, right? As it turns out, internet outrage is approximately 2 weeks. We can complain about lawsuits. We can, especially when it comes down to complaining about lawsuits and legal matters. You have to understand, like, the actual legal process, not that I'm familiar enough with it, that takes years, okay? The Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard, we saw the end of that, right? But, I mean, the entire case was how long? You know, how many years, how many months prior was this before we got to into the public eye, right? And even then, the whole Amber Heard situation, how many people still talk about that, right? Internet outrage will always be short. It's actually why, regardless of what you feel on allegations made against Mr. Beast, it's why I've really kind of looked at his legal team with some sort of awe, because they're playing it beautifully. That way they're dragging any sort of, well, were you going to address the allegations? They're dragging it out into obscurity. Therefore, the people who are just claiming, hey, well, we need, are you going to respond to these allegations? Me included, right? I would like to see some sort of formal response, but it's been dragged into obscurity. How many people watching this video do not care? Proving my point exactly. So given enough time, given enough professional intervention, whether that's going to be legal, managerial, etc., give it enough of you doing enough of another thing, stuff like this does get buried, just because internet outrage is like that. It's a flash in the pan. You get a bunch of people who are angry, a bunch of people who are upset, especially if it's over valid reasons, right? But eventually you can just move past it. You can just say, well, nah, this whole thing doesn't matter anymore, and now we're months ahead. It's if it's repeated that people definitely start to really lock in on that.
However, it would soon become apparent that KSI hadn't learned from his mistake, as his overinflated ego and inability to handle criticism were about to wreak more havoc on his reputation in ways he could have never imagined. By the 15th of February 2024, an online investigator, CoffeeZilla, would put KSI under the microscope with a video titled, "KSI Accidentally Exposes His Crypto Scams."
He accidentally exposed the pump and dump crypto scams that he promoted. They've been hidden for 2 years, but only came out when KSI logged back into his old Twitter account, saying, "Does this still work?" Now, if you didn't know, this is KSI's crypto account where he used to talk about crypto coins he liked, but he messed up because one investigator has been waiting for him to return to the scene of the crime. And that person is not me. It's Zach XBT, a crypto investigator on Twitter.
CoffeeZilla went on to show how Zach confronted KSI on his previous shady crypto deals and promotions.
Now, many people, including myself, hadn't seen anything from KSI to this point that seemed shady. But Zach had been waiting for this moment. He goes on, "Remember when KSI posted this? All of a sudden, my XCAD bag is looking juicy again. HODL gang then proceeded to dump $850,000 worth of XCAD over the following days from his wallet address."
I hear HODL and my brain just kind of like I five head. I straight up just like Captain Picard facepalm. I hate the term HODL, dude. HODL, diamond hands to the moon. Oh my god, dude. The whole crypto land shenaniganry. Oh, that was glorious. That was a glorious time in crypto. And when I say glorious time in crypto, it was amazing. It was like watching an actual flaming train wreck in real time. Like, it was wild. Yeah, it makes me just really... The whole crypto saga, quote unquote, with a lot of things is really just like there's no regulations or restrictions? Like, is this something like market manipulation? Is this what would this be if this was not crypto? If this was, say, Wall Street investments? If we weren't dealing with crypto, would this be illegal? And the fact is, if it is illegal, if it's not crypto, why is it allowed? Why is there not precedent that's already been set into play? Like, the whole crypto thing has honestly just really been upsetting to kind of follow, especially with the amount of creators, such as Logan Paul with Dink Doink and CryptoZoo, right? Like, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to crypto. Kira TV has a lot of videos covering crypto. I've loved watching his content. It's been very, very depressing, and I know a lot of people have lost money on it. That being said, you can make snap judgments all day. You can say, well, if they were smart with their money, they would invest in crypto, or, well, you should have invested early. I'm an early adopter of Bitcoin, which, yeah, I've had friends say, man, I should have just got onto that when I was in high school. Should have just invested a little bit in Bitcoin. But I mean, how do you call that? How do you call that far in advance? I don't know. It's one of those things that's been very divisive, and I've always had a poor opinion on crypto, but that's because I'm more like, well, why is this not backed by an actual physical asset, right? Where USD, the US dollar, used to be backed a certain ratio of gold. That was taken off the gold standard. Now it's kind of backed by the actual like US government. That gets into economics and politics, so I'm gonna wean back a little bit there. But crypto to me has always been a little dodgy to me personally, because a lot of these projects, what are they backed by? And that's been a large concern of mine.
As well,
not financial advice, literally not a financial advisor. Do not take what I say as actual financial advice. Please go see a financial advisor, broker, etc.
sharing proof of KSI selling tokens that he publicly claimed to hold.
Zach also shared a picture as proof. Series of transactions from KSI's wallet, where starting on March 27th, when he sent that tweet, KSI started selling XCAD. The same day he tweeted he was part of the HODL gang, slang for someone who wouldn't sell this crypto coin, right? In fact, that wasn't the only time KSI has mentioned this holding stance publicly.
I'm holding my bags. I'm holding my Luna, my XCAD.
Videos like this are why people genuinely thought KSI was just buying and holding, but he wasn't.
To get some clarity on the situation, CoffeeZilla contacted KSI about the pump and dump allegations, and he had this to say.
The HODL gang, LMAO, sold some profit, as well as my own money, to put into Luna, thinking I would profit more to buy back more XCAD, and took a major L. Still fully believe in XCAD, the ability to earn from watching content. Honestly, you should talk to Redacted. He's very excited about this project. I never left crypto. I've just been watching it from the shadows. It's kind of hard to leave when you've invested so many years into it. He then shared a personal account screenshot showing that he does have some XCAD still held. It doesn't really change the core accusation of whether he pumped and dumped his fans.
While there was some plausible deniability if KSI was involved in only one crypto scheme, it becomes a lot more difficult to believe his story when he was involved in the same scheme twice.
But then I got another message, which changed everything from Zach. He said, I have one more KSI example with a different coin. Turns out on March 20th, 2021, KSI tweeted this. 2 NFT coins I'm very bullish on, Super and Earn. Any other NFTs I should look at?
I mean, I have to say, very bold of him to be marketed as KSI crypto, right? Like, at that point, you are very out in the open. Cool, this is my crypto account, right? So, I mean, it's interesting to think about because he's not trying to obfuscate it. It's clearly out in the open, right? And thus, I guess maybe that gives him some sort of like social immunity because like, oh, well, at least you can see what he's doing. I don't know. This is fascinating. There are people way smarter than me like CoffeeZilla and Zach XBT, I believe his name was. I apologize. I just saw the name. Like who are investigating stuff like this. Individuals who are way, way smarter and have more resources than I do.
Now, normally when you're bullish on a coin, you buy that coin.
Yeah.
But that's not what KSI did. See, right after he tweeted that, 6 hours later, he sold $174,000 worth of Earn token. And then 4 hours later, sells another $174,000. Now, if that isn't a textbook pump and dump, I don't know what is.
When questioned about the second crypto pump and dump, KSI replied with this statement.
He says, I don't really remember the details of every transaction I made. These were coins I put my own money in, thinking they would do well. I would listen to what people said on Twitter and just follow stuff. I invested in Doge, etc. I didn't have malicious intent in trying to scam. I was new to crypto, so I was excited, putting money in random things and trying to chase the pumps, and ultimately lost heavily. I hope people didn't take advice or tweets as gold, because looking back at my track record, I was effing dog shit. I wish I was an evil genius that would pump and dump at the right time, because then at least people would say that I had some wit about me. Reality is, I was just shit at crypto.
In addition to this, KSI claimed that the contradiction between his tweets and trading behavior was due to being trolled by the market.
And I said as much. I said, I'm just trying to understand why you traded the opposite way that you were saying on Twitter. And KSI replied this, because I thought I was getting trolled. Honestly, every time I tweeted something, the opposite would happen on the market. So I decided to tweet the opposite of what I was actually doing and still took an L. He thought the market was against him, so he publicly said one thing while privately, secretly doing the opposite.
That feels like market manipulation, or at the very least, it feels dishonest, right? Especially if you have a large personality, celebrity influencer, right? Who can, hear me out, influence the decisions of others? Like, that definitely feels, even if it's a troll, dishonest. And especially because we're dealing with money, specifically crypto at this period of time, it just feels odd.
Which is kind of the definition of a pump and dump when you promote that to a big audience.
Right.
The holes in KSI's story would only continue to get larger, as Zach revealed yet another obvious example of dishonest activity.
Meanwhile, though, while I was confronting KSI, I heard a final response from Zach XBT, which he said, I found another example. See, on May 11, 2021, KSI Crypto tweeted, "This is about to explode." Only moments later, though, he sold $25,000.
So, and at that point, right, one is what, chance, two is coincidence, three is a pattern. This is now 3 times he's done this. So when does plausible deniability go out the window? When do we say, okay, but reasonably, these actions are reinforced by habit, therefore, you know, we're calling BS. Like, at what point is that relevant? At what point is that fair to assess?
Didn't buy it. Which I get it. It's a relatively small amount, but it furthers that same pattern of behavior.
Not long after these allegations were made public, another member of the crypto community and fan of KSI by the name of Vipor published a 38-page document defending him, as well as offering counters to the tweets Zach presented. The main argument of the document was that KSI wasn't a serious trader and had lost money on several occasions. Reading, KSI had no reason to pump and dump the coins, and KSI did not pump and dump any coin, but the false allegations and half-truths were shared in such a way to make it look like KSI has scammed his fans. But in actuality, he did not scam any of his fans, but has himself lost a lot of money in his trades.
So, okay, so let's, if I were to manipulate a market and people were to follow and you know, buy into that manipulated market, even if I were to lose money, am I still not guilty of market manipulation in this example? Right? Like, has a crime been committed if you engage in a crime or an alleged crime and you still come out with an L? What happens if, I mean, we're going to go to like the physical extreme case, right? Like, what happens if you break into somebody's house and try to steal their air fryer, right? But you don't get the air fryer. Did you still, you break into somebody's house? Did you still trespass in somebody's house? Now, market manipulation and stuff, I get it. They're kind of more nebulous than breaking into somebody's house, right? And then you have to, I mean, there's going to be a whole allegations versus finding out intent. I'm sure that's a long legal process to actually ascertain. Let's say in a situation where somebody is factually guilty of market manipulation, and market manipulation is a crime in this example, even if you lost $1 million, would you still be guilty of market manipulation? Would you still be guilty? Would you be still found liable? And that, I think, is the core question we have to answer here. Not necessarily, you know, pinning down KSI as a market manipulator as committing any crime at this time, right? But, you know, do we debunk this paper by, even if you lost money, if a crime was still committed, if unsavory actions were committed, would they still be guilty? Yes, no. And then it comes down to a binary logic first and foremost.
Even though it wasn't clear if KSI had traded maliciously or not, CoffeeZilla would later put forward the notion that influencers should be held accountable when promoting a financial product.
Fact. Dude, if I were to pitch everybody right now, if I were to pitch everybody on like Kip Bank, Kip Credit Union, Kipcoin, I should absolutely be held 100% accountable, especially if I'm giving unsolicited financial advice, not being a financial advisor or any sort of financial expert, right? Grats. I worked at a financial institution for like a year and a half, right? Somewhere in that range, right? Okay, doesn't make me a master at what I do. Doesn't mean I have any credentials behind my name. Absolutely. Yes. Accountability for products you promote. Oh my God.
If a public influencer with a lot of followers promote something and they say they're bullish, they say they're excited, they say they're HODL gang, and they sell, that's a pump and dump.
To illustrate his point, CoffeeZilla would share more messages of him telling KSI how much of an impact he had on the market.
I shared with him the volume calculation I had done based on an aggregate of a bunch of different crypto exchanges showing that XCAD's volume went up. Because one thing he told me, he's like, look, I hope people didn't actually take my tweets. And I said, this is XCAD trading volume. The red arrows are right after you tweeted, people dumped in money. Trading volume spiked by millions of dollars multiple times. Whether or not you realize it, you have insane influence more than most celebrities. Wielding it like this is bad, whether or not you have ill intentions.
Despite CoffeeZilla's attempt to present the situation in good faith, KSI would respond on stream by trying to frame him as a clout chaser.
Well, honestly, it's kind of mad how CoffeeZilla has made not one, not two, but 3 videos on me. And I haven't even responded yet.
In addition to this,
you don't have to respond. I mean, if there are allegations and there is evidence backing these allegations, which CoffeeZilla, in my opinion, does do a good job on. The reason I don't react to CoffeeZilla is I have an email from him responding saying, hey, please don't react to the full thing, right? It's not that I don't like CoffeeZilla. It's that I am doing my part as a reactor on YouTube, right? Reactor on Twitch even, to take the creator's wishes into account and to not react to the full thing. Obviously, using clips like that, he said was fine, right? But using his video in full, which I still know factually other React channels do, he says he's not fine with it. It becomes a market replacement. Now, you can have different mentalities of market replacement. You can have the mentality that, you know, video is public and therefore you can use. You know, I try to do reactions as ethically as I can. And if a creator does have an issue, like if Internet Anarchist has an issue with this video, absolutely, I will can this video 100%. I want to be that difference that shows not all of us are scummy, right? To be that difference and trying to be more ethical. It's been its own share of headaches, don't get me wrong. But that's for those that didn't know, that's actually why I don't react to CoffeeZilla, because there's an email from him saying, hey, please don't do this, thanks, right? So, which is completely fair. I did ask and he did respond. But you don't have to respond. If there are allegations and say I was involved in, say, a crypto scam, right? Kip involved in, yeah, and it's, you know, proven like, oh yeah, it's my wallet, right? Well, yeah, you found something out. You're presenting it. You are presenting it to your audience. You're presenting it to YouTube, right? I mean, as long and that gets into slandering, that gets into defamation. You know, there's things that can do. But as far as I'm aware, defamation lawsuits are incredibly hard to actually prove that defamation did take place. And if it's true, or if there's evidence backing it that, you know, hey, you probably should answer this, you know, that starts getting into an area where it's like, okay. But I mean, CoffeeZilla in general does very good jobs on his videos. I have no reason to doubt his integrity.
KSI argued that he was too rich to participate in crypto schemes or scam anyone.
But I don't know. Why would I scam? I've turned down millions and millions and millions of deals. Like tens of millions of me to do, I don't know, some gambling stuff. So why would I go on crypto and pump and dump? For what?
Instead of properly addressing the allegations,
it's a classic deflect.
KSI was trying to discredit his critics, and his viewers wouldn't hesitate to call him out on it, with comments reading, "I still don't understand why JJ would sell hours after tweeting to buy the crypto." This response addressed none of CoffeeZilla's points. Also, JJ is not gonna sue anyone. That's the most empty threat I've ever seen. As well as, mate, you've been hanging with Logan Paul too much. You literally tweeted about the crypto, but 15 minutes later dumped. You do realize that is a definition of a pump and dump. Sadly, this wouldn't be the only instance of KSI's association with Logan souring his relationship with his own fans. In the coming months, the two creators are about to collaborate on a product that only served to turn fans against them. By the 16th of September 2024, KSI, Logan Paul, and Mr. Beast would launch a children's food product named Lunchly.
So we're actually going to miss the Prime collaboration. We're glossing over that chapter, and we're going straight to Lunchly. Lunchly has been something that I've followed. I have to full disclosure. I mean, this is not a product that is marketed at me. This is not a product I feel I would enjoy. I'm also not going to just bag on a product because it's popular to bag on the product. I have my own reservations about it being marketed to children in the way it's been marketed. I have my own reservations about, people like Logan Paul and their history of being, in my opinion, incredibly dishonest and willing to chase metrics, specifically the Japanese forest incident, which I think is incredibly egregious, and the fact that I don't feel was ever properly addressed in a way that I feel was relevant. But also, I'm not out here like some people on TikTok who are making just wild accusations and allegations, right? There was a case about PFOs, PFAs, forever chemicals, and Prime, and that, it's 3 times your life consumption. This is all alleged, of course, to which my understanding that lawsuit did get dropped. I mean, if you're going to make allegations, accusations, like, you have to have basis. You have to have a foundation. Like, I'm not out here trying to engage in confirmation bias just to hate a product. I don't think that's how you be an adult. I don't think that's how we improve things. I think being an adult, being a rational adult, and, making sure you're doing your research, being well educated, being well read, and if there is an issue that presents itself, presenting it in the proper way is how we move forward, right? That's my own personal take on this. This is a situation that I have absolutely been following, and I definitely have my thoughts and opinions on it.
They marketed the product as a healthy alternative to the already established Lunchables.
With Lunchly, you get double the amount of liquid. Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar. Whoa. Feastables Crunch Bar. Yeah!
That actually right here, I'd be curious on the legal stance on that. So I have called this out specifically, not like a call out. But when you start slagging off a product, and I think slagging's a British term, right? Like, that's British slang, I think. God, words in my head jumble. Like, when you start doing something like that, it can be perceived as an attack reasonably, right? If I were to say something derogatory, demeaning about another VTuber, especially say another VTuber that does React content, right? Let's use Smug Alana for this example. If I were to say something along the lines of, and this is a, like, hypothetical, right? Smug Alana React content, nah, right? Would that not be seen as kind of a dick move? Would that not be seen as being that guy for all intents and purposes? I mean, it just comes across as weird to me, especially, I think, coming from the track record that these individuals have. And once again, I do want to stress that Mr. Beast is all allegations at this point. How much stock you put in the Dogpack 404 videos and stuff like that. Look, they're all allegations at this point in time. I have not heard any sort of official response. I will be treating those as allegations because that's how being an adult works. Logan Paul being involved with the Japanese forest incident, Dink Doink Crypto Zoo, KSI, more evidence coming out in regards to alleged crypto scams, and especially in regards to a meltdown at Dan TDM. I have a very poor opinion on the other 2 individuals in frame.
Our pizza.
So, sorry, back to the question at hand. Can you just flag off a product like that? If so, why do we not have more advertisements that are just like, Coca-Cola being like, why drink that boring Pepsi, rolls over Pepsi can with an 18-wheeler when you could be drinking La Coca-Cola? And it's just, actual like Spanish model, just like cracking open a Coke and sipping it, right? What stops that from happening? I'm sure there's certain laws, restrictions, regulations, and even potential good faith in business, right, that go into that. That's what I was curious about legally. Sorry I didn't explain that properly.
This is real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese.
As you'd imagine, people were skeptical of the product because of Mr. Beast's involvement and other blatantly unhealthy items included in the meal, Feastables, and Prime. However, that wouldn't be the only source of hate for their new product, as popular YouTube creator Dan TDM pointed out something everyone knew but hadn't said, with a tweet that read, "What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is just selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. But how does it benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better."
So I do blame Twitter's character cap on this, especially if because there's a character cap on tweets, right? Unless you're Twitter Blue, right? Almost a Twitter Prime, Twitter Blue, right? I think that this is a perfect tweet when taken in context. I think if you look at this at face value, you can kind of start poking holes in this, to which KSI, spoiler, does take issue with this and tries pointing out some stuff. So the issue at hand, as I understand this, and what this is specifically calling out, is calling out a product for the sake of being a product marketed at kids with potentially, allegedly, no net benefit to them, right? So it's not necessarily an issue with a YouTuber selling merch, right? Like if I were to sell a waifu kip t-shirt, right? Or to sell a waifu kip body pillow, right? Or were to sell, husbando kip on a playmat, right? Like, I'm not necessarily marketing it at kids. I'm offering, a product that, hey, you want to buy it? Cool, awesome. Cool, get some merch, right? I don't think that's what's necessarily being put on blast here. Contextually, what this comes across as is calling out product for the sake of being a product, and especially aiming it at a younger audience, which you could argue, Lunchly, Prime, Feastables, right? They're aimed at kids. And that's, I think, what a lot of people take from the Lunchly situation, why they have so much issue with it. It's not necessarily that it's being a product, right? Being sold as a product for the sake of being a product, but it's a product. Well, part of it's product being sold for the sake of a product, but it's being targeted at kids, right? If I were to make a candy bar, if I were to make Kit Bar, and I were just selling Kit Bar, you're like, it's okay, it's whatever, it could be better. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever had, right? Versus if I were to make Kit Bar and I'm going to market it to kids, right? I'm going to receive a different backlash, and I think that's incredibly fair.
The tweet would go viral and spark a massive wave of criticism directed at both Lunchly and the creators behind it. From the concerns about the impact on children's health, to the disapproval of the influencer's misleading marketing techniques, people held nothing back in their criticism of Lunchly. By the 22nd of September 2024, KSI could no longer bear the hit to his ego over the hate for Lunchly, and defended the product in a video titled, "Everybody Hates Us Right Now."
This is what I said. Looks like crap to me, while showing his toys that he sold to kids. How does this benefit your fans, Dan? Now, obviously, people didn't realize that I was shining a mirror in his face. Instead, they were like,
wait, you did the same as Dan. You made toys with Tube Heroes.
And yes, that's fair, but I'm not the one complaining.
KSI would then go on a rant about how Dan TDM had sold food products to children before, and that what—
If you can't tell, Dan TDM lives rent-free in KSI's head. Like lives so deep in his head. Dan TDM has paid off a mortgage in KSI's head. It is wild, the obsession that KSI has for this man.
He was doing was no different, as well as cherry-picking negative responses from viewers and claiming they were representative of Dan's entire audience.
Sponsored, then promoted, and made a whole video on Munch Pack, a monthly sub box full of food and candy to his Minecraft audience full of kids. His fans imploded. Some just decided just to be racist.
So here's the thing as well, right? Like, this is why the law exists in some capacity, because what stops a large creator like KSI absolutely trying to go on a smear campaign? What keeps them in check? What keeps a large creator trying to mock, mimic, slander you? I'm not saying that, Dan TDM is necessarily going to sue. What I am trying to get across is what stops people from doing this. What stops, it doesn't even have to be someone like KSI, right? What stops some random from just targeting you? There was a very infamous situation regarding a TikTok psychic up at Idaho State University, right? There was an unfortunate event that happened up there. Some people are no longer with us in that incident, let's put it that way. And there was a TikTok psychic, I guess a couple states over, I don't remember what state she was from, but was like, oh, well, this person did absolutely no evidence, just going on like psychic abilities. And I think they were doing tarot card readings during the legal proceedings. And it's like, bro, what stops that? Like, someone that absolutely left field. I don't care. I know friends who deal with tarot, right? I don't care. When you start getting into making allegations and accusations based on no evidence, and you're absolutely just slandering and weaponizing it against somebody, like what stops that? Right now, that's an extreme situation, but what KSI is engaging in is just going after this one creator. How do you protect yourself from that? How do you stop that? That is wild that can happen. And short of legal action, it seems there's very little you can do. And Dan TDM, as you're going to see, is kind of just the bigger person here for just dealing with the situation by not dealing with the situation. And now you're going to see, now that we're looking at more KSI clips, you're going to see that his laughing, he'll say something, or he'll say something that is either controversial, a hot take, say something that makes him uncomfortable, and immediately covers it up in a laugh, or immediately goes into a laugh, right? You're going to see that a lot. And this leads me to my earlier statement of, I wonder if there's more underlying issues that this is indicative of. I wonder if this is his way of coping.
When a knicker like KSI does nothing in life and still gets paid for it in something other than welfare or food stamps, it's noteworthy. It's like how monkeys in the jungle have started to understand the concept of tools.
So that is absolutely inappropriate, right? Let's not be racist, okay? Let's not be broad overgeneralizing, right? Let's not engage in, what is it, simianization, a thing that's been very prevalent in history with humans, right? Let's not, okay? If you have an issue with Dan TDM, his attacks at Dan TDM, if you have an issue with Prime, if you have an issue with Lunchley, if you have an issue with his boxing career, if you have an issue with KSI, that is fine. We have to make sure we're presenting it in a reasonable adult capacity. Which, once again, Twitter, what are you going to do, right?
KSI didn't seem to understand.
To clarify, that's painting Twitter as a lost cause, and the people on there have a collective IQ that is less than absolute zero.
Was that he was presenting Lunchley as a healthy alternative for children, while only promoting the food product based on taste and satisfaction. Unfortunately, KSI already set his mind on the idea that the backlash was simply due to people hating on him, Logan, and Mr. Beast.
Where was the same energy when Ryan Trahan released sweets? Where was the same energy when FaZe Rog released sweets? I'm not seeing people going crazy towards them on Twitter. You know why? I've realized why. It's because people just hate us.
I mean, you've taken the information and I feel have made the complete wrong conclusion. That being said, if we do want to say, okay, let's roll with this conclusion, why? Why would people hate you guys? Why would people look at this product as favorably? Why would people have a bias against your reputations? I mean, a Forest incident comes to mind. A CryptoZoo Dink Doink, those come to mind. Prior videos done without seeming a solid response about patternistic behavior and alleged pump and dump schemes, right? You have a Mr. Beast right now who is, one was factually friends with Ava Chris Tyson, was he not? I think we can say factually that was a friendship, right? To which, yes, she has left for all intents and purposes, to which, that's a whole can of worms in itself. But I mean, you have a bunch of reputations that are marred by certain things like these. That doesn't, but it's got to be just haters. It's got to be just Dan TDM's audience. That's the crux of the issue here. It comes across as a lack of cognizance. It comes across as just being unable to critically think and self-reflect.
People just hate us. People hate Logan Paul, okay? They hate Mr. Beast, and they hate me.
Naturally, viewers didn't support that idea and decided to show KSI what true hate looks like. The video would receive over 200,000 dislikes, and the comment section was filled to the brim with people trolling KSI. Him fake laughing every 10 seconds just makes him look desperate. KSI's ego has grown so much to the point where he actually believes that he hasn't done anything wrong, as well as bro's ego is bigger than his forehead. Around a day later, a health professional named Dr. Mike would give his expert opinion on the matter and point out several nutritional concerns that were being overlooked.
What I was able to conclude is that Lunchley has less sugar and therefore less calories than Lunchables in comparable kits. That's probably due to the drink component of the kit, as Capri Sun uses sugar and Prime is artificially sweetened. Lunchley has significantly more potassium than Lunchables because of the Prime drink, which I guess is good, but not something I'd regularly use in deciding if a food is an ideal lunch for a kid. But the entirety of the kit is still considered an ultra-processed meal.
On the subject of Lunchley, Dr. Mike would have this to say.
Kids need energy to function, and calories give them that energy. Lunchley turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories.
And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium,
which is also significant significantly over the USDA standards. It's clear Lunchly, just like Lunchables, misses the mark too many times to be considered meaningfully healthier, at least in my opinion.
And honestly, that's the thing. I don't know enough about this individual. I'm going to take at face value that he's an actual medical professional. That being said, if information comes out, obviously I can, that stance can change and I can reformulate an opinion. I mean, that from what is presented, I mean, we clearly ultra processed meal, right? We can take a look at that. It still classifies as ultra processed. So then the situation becomes, is this a healthy alternative or not? And it seems inconclusive. Well, not inconclusive. It seems that it is. There's too many, as you say, there's too many marks that have been missed to consider this a healthier alternative. And that being said, you're already breaking to a market where, sure, absolutely, I'm sure Lunchables could use a good competitor. I think that could even, kick them into gear because competition is healthy in a market, right? But is this necessarily going to be something that somebody goes, oh, I'm going to go buy Lunchly versus I'm going to go buy Lunchables, right? I think that that's a fair question to ask. I think that's a fair follow-up question to ask. My 300 IQ hypothesis is, with some of the allegations that have been coming out about the Feastables changing from their 5 ingredients, as was posted previously, right, by Mr. Beast, potentially seemingly falling out of favor. Prime, some lawsuits regarding that, regarding shipments, regarding orders, right? There's some things going on with Prime right now. My hypothesis, and this is just sheer speculation, is Lunchly was a product for the sake of being a product in response to falling sales and a backlog, like a quantity of the product being unmoved, and consolidating those products to push the product. It's more or less, Lunchly is a actual product that is taking elements that are less popular than they were and putting them into a product that, one, makes sense, two, is in a market, in my opinion, without a lot of competition, and three, being able to be marketed towards their target demographic, right, their target audience. So this is just speculation. I think that it opens up a lot of interesting avenues in terms of thought processes.
The dubious health claims of Lunchly get debunked wasn't the only thing KSI had to worry about, as his next project was about to face even more hate and criticism. Around the end of September, KSI began promoting his new single, Thick of It, with some strange marketing tactics, with a tweet reading, "A lot has happened these past few days online, so here I am addressing everything below." Due to the misleading nature of the tweet, he was immediately hit with a community note that read, "Not only is the link 100% misleading, which breaks X guidelines, it's also a marketing tactic by WMG, who created the site that's using anger surrounding his controversies to promote his new single. This same tactic was also used recently for the song, but with Jake Paul. Unfortunately for
Interesting that, if that is true, I wonder how you would actually substantiate Warner Music Group. I'm assuming that's what WMG means here, Warner Music Group. I'm very curious how you would authenticate that. I'm very curious how you would substantiate that.
KSI, no amount of marketing was enough to prevent the overwhelmingly negative response to the song, as the YouTube release received over 1 million dislikes. To add insult to injury, one of the comments under the video would receive more likes than the actual song itself, something that KSI couldn't stand.
If the whole thing was different, it would be better, right? Fantastic. This was literally my top comment. If anything, it's actually the most liked comment on the fucking music video.
Yeah, it was like, honestly, if this had a different beat, different melody, different lyrics, different message, would have been a banger. Oh my god, dude, it's so funny. Like, wow.
It's got more likes than my actual music video. A comment, 202,000 likes on this comment. Why aren't you liking the video?
KSI's other single, Low, would endure a similar treatment, with over 30,000 dislikes. The trolling and hate didn't stop there, as TikTok and YouTube were flooded with videos making fun of the song's lyrics and presentation.
New song is straight fire if you were to listen to it on fucking mute. I am being 100% deadass when I say this. This is one of the worst songs I've ever fucking heard in my life. Wait till you see the music video. All my ops getting it. You're not ready. Bro, who exactly are your fucking ops? Dan TDF?
During Aiden Ross's stream, KSI would have a knee-jerk reaction when questioned about the audience's reception of the song.
You know, when Aiden Ross gets involved, it's going to be a good day. I'm definitely meaning that satirically. Oh, man. I've seen the clips from this. This is bad.
song.
What do you want to happen? What do you it's already out. Your song's already a meme. What do you want to happen now? What is
I just wanted to stop. I wanted to stop. I want people to stop making fun of my song.
I understand, man.
You don't fucking understand because you haven't released a song before. Imagine putting your heart and soul into a project and then releasing it to the world and everyone's going, ha ha, us.
That's literally part of the KSI. That's literally part of our job. Like, sure, I'm on the more React content side of things. That's literally part of our job. You can release a 2.5 hour reaction to a 90-minute video and it get no views. You can release something. I could release this and everyone can just go Lamau L ratio Kip fell off, right? That's just how that works. That's how the internet works. Like, as much as people are individuals, sometimes the internet is a collective. More often than not, the internet's kind of a collective, right? That's literally how that works. I can put time and effort into a piece. I can edit a piece. I can say this is my magnum opus, right? And it can absolutely get ratioed, trashed on, laughed at. Whatever, editing could have been better, right? That is literally our job. Is it not? That's literally how that works.
Trash! From the screen to the ring to the pen to the king. I'm literally talking about every aspect in my life.
So you did, in all fairness, you did rhyme ring with ring. And we have absolutely clowned on people who've done that.
KSI is still getting heated over the hate towards the song, and it doesn't look like that will change anytime soon. With a tweet reading, "Generational haters everywhere. I'm so tired of it at this point. Just leave me alone." KSI is the perfect example of a creator who's incapable of noticing or learning from their mistakes. He couldn't handle the backlash from Saul losing after his fight with Tommy Fury, nor could he properly respond to the allegation of being involved in several crypto pump and dumps. Instead, KSI tried to protect his ego by hiding behind his insecure laughter and deflecting legitimate arguments. That kind of behavior rarely goes unnoticed by the internet, and it was only a matter of time before KSI's other endeavors were all hit with the hate he'd been avoiding.
So, I have not listened to Thick of It. I have listened to the chorus when people have brought it up. Videos have brought it up. I've heard it. My first initial impressions were pretty Disney-like. You know, rhyming ring with ring. Definitely a point that we've clowned on people in the past for doing. So I don't know what you expected there. I mean, the song is serviceable. I'm not gonna, be part of mob mentality, right? Like, and I'm not even being contrary for the sake of being contrary. Song sounds all right. I can see why people would like it. I can see why this could even be a banger for some people. It's not my thing. It's not something that I would listen to, right? It's okay. It's mid. But then again, that's with the disclosure that I haven't listened to the actual full track, and I'm kind of giving it the benefit of the doubt. There is a thing in reference to Dan TDM that he talks about. There's a couple big clips that have been circulating, such as being on some of the podcasts he's been on, some of the things he's talked about. He talks about Dan TDM and how, somebody, KSI is a fighter and he's going to want to fight people, right? If somebody were to walk in and, say something about your mom, like, you're going to want to fight him, to which the response was, wait, he says something about your mom? And he's like, no, it's just a figure of speech, bro. Like, KSI, once again, as somebody who does SCA, as somebody who enjoys sword fighting, as somebody who loves combat, you got to let things go. You can't fight everybody. Not everyone should be fought. Right? I would not hand a random viewer a sword and say, let's go. That's not how that works, right? And it's why there's regulations, restrictions, why there's certain policies and procedures, and I'm sure what you do. And what is it, boxing, right? You can't have that I'm going to fight everybody mentality and it end up well for you. Absolutely, people can have that mentality, but there's a time and a place, right? If somebody, at a bar just absolutely spits on you and you're like, yo, why would you do that, right? And maybe they try to shove you. Absolutely. Yeah, one thing's probably going to lead to another. In a situation such as I was in semi-recently with the weirdo at the park, right? If this random who is clearly boxing my car in, right? We're in a different situation. This is now, okay, this is fight or flight mode. If this random individual who's ranting weird mutterings about I have to save this person touches me, okay, I'm going to grab my claymore or my messer or my longsword, which is in my car, and we're going to get 6 feet between us. And then we're going to try to resolve the situation, right? Like, there's a time and a place. So I do take offense and a little bit of issue with his statement of being a fighter. I understand where he's coming from, in that he wants to. He's this part. He has a heart of a fighter. You know, he wants to go. He wants to tackle the problem head on. But you can't do that. Not a lot of situations can be resolved that way. And in fact, if anything, it can dig your own grave. There was another point. There was a point on, I think it was Impulsive, where Mr. Beast, KSI, and Logan Paul were all in a room, and they were talking to each other. And KSI had made talked about how he talks to AI for a friend. Look, I don't care. If somebody wants to talk to AI, it's not my thing, right? It's not my thing. It's somebody's thing, whatever. But he got effectively clowned upon. Like, he was trying to talk about how he talks to AI when he wants to talk to somebody, like talk to a friend, or wants to talk about something and not be seen as stupid. To which I know Logan Paul specifically, I don't remember if Mr. Beast did or not, they kind of just chuckled and laughed at him. So that to me might actually be indicative of underlying issues with the trio. That might be underlying of other factors. That might also be even telling to certain people regarding KSI's current mental state. But once again, speculation I'm going to keep to a minimum on that, because I feel that is unprofessional for me to really dive too much into, especially being uneducated in psychology. This is also the exact same Impulsive, where there's clips of Mr. Beast saying, Logan Paul asks, something in regards to, oh yeah, you made a comment about wanting to have kids, to which Mr. Beast responds, oh, well, I wanted to have, I didn't really want to have kids, but I saw Bill Gates, Elon Musk, popular people that I like, that he likes having kids, maybe I should have a kid. And he kind of laughs at himself a little bit, like, yeah, it's kind of a stupid reason, right? To which KSI laughs, but Logan Paul steps in to defend. So to me, this speaks to other issues within the situation, because why is Logan Paul quick to defend Mr. Beast, but willing to laugh at KSI when it's kind of like a self-report, let's kind of laugh kind of situation? So there's a lot of issues going on there. I have been following this. KSI has been a very interesting individual to follow, because I get to learn from his mistakes, right? I get to see what having a large and inflated ego can do to somebody. I get to look at somebody who, also, I'm assuming he likes fighting in some capacity, or else he wouldn't even be boxing, right? You see the extreme version of that, right? And I said, not that I'm this master at fighting or anything, not that I'm even really good. I like swordplay. I like sword fighting. I like doing things. But thank you, Internet Anarchist, for making such a great video. I know this is currently a developing situation as well. So, even when this goes live, this is definitely going to be a situation where we're going to have more information coming out on it. A lot of people are not going to care about this situation. And honestly, can't blame you. In fact, I kind of, look at you and go, awesome, man, live your best life. So thank you all for watching. Definitely go check out Internet Anarchist. In the description down below, I have linked the original video as well as his original channel. Definitely go ahead and check him out if you liked this. And thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.